First, I want to say that sometimes comments on my videos get sent to the filter, and some of them, I'm not even sure why they're sent there. And when I approve them, they disappear. So if you've commented on my video in the past, and your comment disappeared, I have no idea how to get it back. And I'm sorry about that. But anyway, I'm back from my trip to Moab, Utah, and Colorado. And so I wanted to talk about my trip a little bit now that I've had a little bit of recovery time. I guess none of this is really specifically autistic experience stuff, but it's just stuff that I experienced as an autistic person on a camping trip and after getting back. So I am exhausted. It was such a fun trip, but I'm seriously exhausted, even though I got really good sleep the whole time I was gone. And I slept well last night. And I spent yesterday not talking because I just am not used to being around anyone for a whole week. And even though it's my boyfriend and I don't have trouble talking to him most of the time, it was a lot of words for me. I just don't normally talk that much. Some days these videos are the only words I will say all day long. And I'm okay with that. Because one thing I realized about this whole trip thing is social stuff for me is a big battery drain. And so whenever I come back from a trip like this, like I had yesterday to recover, and that's good. I don't like to come back from a vacation and have to go straight back into work. That is really, really difficult and a real strain for me. So I had a day yesterday to recover, it being Sunday and all, but I really would have loved to have had today as well, because I'm pretty just mentally drained. And like normally in the past, I would let people know that I'm back in town and like back home, just like my family and my best friend. And I'm like, that's social. A text is being social. Because I know the people in my life well enough to know that it wouldn't just be one text. It would be lots of texts and possibly phone calls and that kind of stuff. And I just didn't have a phone call in me and until tonight. So I got back around 5 o'clock on Saturday, and so spent the night at my boyfriend's house on Saturday, but I got back home yesterday morning and had the entire day to myself and playing video games so that I didn't really have to think. And that's a pretty good way for me to wind down, but I really needed a couple more wind down days. But it also made me start thinking, when I'm in my recharge mode, social recharge mode, I can't really even do social media. And it's because it's social. It is, I can do a post and, then like comments or whatever, but to engage takes something else that I'm unable to tap into when I'm really drained. But that's just the social aspect of having been, around another person for a week and in public. We did go into some public places while we were in Moab. And just really surprised myself at how drained and exhausted I got just from that. But anyway, it was a great trip. And the first night we spent at the Comanche National Grasslands in Colorado, in southeast Colorado. It was beautiful. And the second night was near Wolf Creek Pass on the West Fork dispersed camping area. And the third night was at Hatch Point Campground south of Moab, and it was amazing and very private. We had the whole campground all to ourselves. And the third night, I think I'm on 4 now. Yeah. The fourth night was at the Ledge Campground. The Ledge there's several different ones. I think it was Ledge C. And the fifth night was a dispersed camping site in the Manatee La Salle National Forest area. And then on the way back home, we stopped on Last Dollar Road in Colorado. And that was absolutely amazing. And that night was a night that the Northern Lights were visible. And so we got to see the Northern Lights at 10,000 feet and had a great view. It was pretty amazing. It was my boyfriend's first time ever seeing the Aurora Borealis. So I think he had a pretty epic first experience with that. That was his word. His word was epic. And he said, I don't even use that word, but this is that. But so those are the places we camped. My favorite was Hatch Point Campground because nearby were 2 overlooks. There was the minor overlook, as in opposite of major, which was such the name just doesn't do it justice. This was a major overlook. It was beautiful, absolutely gorgeous overlook of the Canyonlands. And then there was the anticline overlook on that same dirt road that goes out to the campground. And while there was another more popular overlook nearby, the Needles Overlook, it was way busier than the other 2 that I mentioned. The 2 that were on the dirt road and away from civilization were much better views, in my opinion. And it was just an absolutely amazing experience seeing the Canyonlands and the road where we were going to be off-roading the next day. We could see the whole thing winding around down there. So we got a nice aerial view of that. And then the next day we could point back up at the ledge and say that's where we were yesterday. So that was really neat. And I got to see lots of red rocks, just like I had wanted to. And my boyfriend got a picture of the camper in the aspens, just like he wanted to. And we did a little bit of off-roading, dirt roading, whatever you want to call it, in the truck and camped the whole time. So some things I learned, though. One is always observe your campground before setting up camp. We pulled into the West Fork Campground in Colorado right as the sun was about to go down, so we were just happy to find a spot, and we're in a hurry to set up before it got dark. Because once it gets dark, the temperature drops, and then I start getting cold. So we got everything set up, and were kind of rushing around. I didn't really have time to like take a deep breath. But when we did get everything set up, I noticed a smell. And it was the smell of, people who had been using the bathroom right around the campsite and not putting their leave no trace practices into play, and or not doing a very good job of it. And, I mentioned to my boyfriend, I was like, I smell something. And he said, he's like, what do you smell? I said, do you not smell that? And he was like, what do you smell? And I said, it smells like we're camping by a toilet. And he smelled it, and he walked around, and he finally smelled it. And then he's like, is that what all these little dirt mounds are? I was like, yeah, that'd be my guess. That's what all those are. And he's like, why are they right in the campsite? I said, I don't know. Just people don't have any freaking common sense, and bad practices, inconsiderate jerks, basically. And so, people, I hope this message goes out to everyone who is camping. Please go away from the campsites, not just your campsite, but everybody else's too. Go into the woods or onto the plains or desert or whatever, away from the campsite. And if you're too scared to do that, take a buddy. And if you're too scared to do that with a buddy, then you shouldn't be anywhere but a public campground with a restroom on site. So, yeah, you need to dig down. You dig a hole that is the appropriate leave no trace approved size, and make it well away from your campsite. So there was that experience. Always smell your campsite before setting up camp. And also, if I had been paying attention, there was a baby camping right next door, for lack of a better word. These dispersed sites were close together at West Fork, and so that could have been an issue, but the baby only cried like a couple of times. So just, be aware of things in your environment that might affect your experience or your sleep. So we just packed up that night and set out first thing the next morning. And always wear appropriate footwear, even if you think you might not be needing the right footwear, because I had on flip-flops because I thought I was going to be riding all day long down a dirt road, and I got out at one point to take a little video and fell. And I hit hard. I had on those flip-flops, and they were just they got zero traction on that, I think they call it slick rock, where it's basically rock coated in sand, like a sandy, dusty layer. Yeah, I ate it, and my knee is hurting. I'm not going to a doctor because I can walk fine. It's just sore, bruised. But always wear appropriate footwear. I didn't think that I really needed it, but I had them right there under the passenger seat in case I did. But I was thinking, oh, I'll just jump out real quick. No, rookie move. It's not smart. So always be prepared. And speaking of being prepared, dirt roads produce a lot of dust, especially busy ones, like the ones that are really popular with people who are enjoying off-roading. So I had my COVID mask in my backpack in the camper, which wasn't doing me a whole lot of good when I was in the truck riding the road when the camper was back at camp. And so I got a snoot full of red dust and just even being in a vehicle, if you roll the windows down at all for any purpose or open a door or anything, that dust, it just comes right in there. And so after several days of dirt roads and camping, I really wished that I had realized that I had my mask with me that whole time, but I didn't realize it until I was camping at 10,000 feet, and the cold air being a factor was the reason why I decided to remember it and dig it out at that moment. But and again, these are just things that anybody who enjoys camping might want to think about. It's not just being autistic. Anybody who wants to breathe dust-free air might think about putting on a mask before going down a dirt road. I got good sleep. We took my comfort foods with us, and we had one incident with the food that was pretty messy. I had bought a can of chili with a pop top on it, the easy open top. And I had bought some hot cocoa in a canister instead of in pouches. And when we were going down one of those really bumpy roads with the camper, it decided to explode and combine for a really messy and gross experience when we opened up the galley. And we had bungeed in the food, but in retrospect, we realized we should have had it in like plastic bins, the kind that clamp shut and keep the food in that type of container instead of bungeed in, because bungees move, and apparently those cans were playing jump rope with the bungee. so next time we'll be more prepared with the plastic bins and the food, and probably no more easy open top chilies. But I do like my Amy's organic chili, and they're not paying me anything to say that. They can just send me free chili if they want. That's a joke. I'm not receiving free chili for saying that either. Let's see. Other than just being completely exhausted, like I tried to do a video about this yesterday, and I thought about posting it because that's like the reality is that I'm having trouble communicating. My brain is still like all fogged over from just the experience of like it being so overwhelmingly exciting, and like it's all happy stuff. It's all stuff that I like to do and enjoy doing, and views that were amazing. But that stuff can still be overwhelming if you just don't have like a time to just completely turn everything off. And I had a good couple of nights there where it was really super quiet and we were very isolated, that I could just, turn everything off. But yeah, it was still just such an adventurous trip that I'm still recovering, and recovery takes me a while. At least this time though, I only have like an hour time change. It's really more difficult for me when I'm traveling east than west. So yeah, it's not really a difficult adjustment with the time change. And didn't really get off of my sleep schedule. I basically just kept the same sleep schedule out there, where I was going to bed and waking up an hour earlier than there, and but same regular time that I would here. And yeah, but overall it was a great trip. And other than just really wanting to isolate for a week and veg out and just play video games and not think. I think I'm in okay shape. I feel okay. Yesterday I was feeling a little woozy too, like I don't really know what that was all about. Maybe I wondered if it had to do with the elevation, because I was fine at the higher elevations. 'Cause one night we camped at 10,000, one night we camped at 8,000. I don't know what the other elevations were, but they're higher than where I am here in the Ozarks. Um, so it's could be something to do with that. I have no idea. Or it could just be like my nervous system is just trying to catch up, processing all of the amazing stuff that I have in there to process from this week. Um, yeah, that's since this is my first time traveling since diagnosed, I think I did relatively well, but I didn't have anything come up where I felt like I was about to experience sensory overload until I got back. And then once I got back, I I call it like the post-trip crash. It's like while I'm on a trip that's going well, I'm just like, really up there. And then when you get back home, the trip that you had planned to, and looked forward to is over, and you have to go back to the daily grind. And then all of that energy that, I drained during the trip, I've got to somehow recharge and still go back to everyday life. So it's kind of a crash for me whenever I get back from a trip like that. So I don't really know what to do about the crash, except for just do the things that that recharge me. Being really super cozy, laying around the house, playing video games, and I made some pumpkin bread. That's pretty good. I do love the pumpkin, and it is the season. So just doing things that may bring me comfort. I think that's what I need to do to recharge, and avoiding social interactions for at least a week. Like, I had to talk to my parents on the phone tonight, and I was just like, oh man. My best friend called me, like, and in the same night, and I'm just like, I can't do that. I can't do that tonight. Not two phone calls in one night. I remember the last time I did two phone calls in one day. And I was absolutely spent. It was not good. So I won't do that. But it's funny what a low tolerance for phone calls I have. Anyway, I'm pretty much just spending my time recharging. So I'm gonna go and play some Assassin's Creed and continue my recharge process.